This AI consultant's website looked really sharp in Figma, but the headline could have belonged to 100 different businesses. And this consultant's built a really unique niche, helping founder-led brands scale with AI without losing their voice, but the page wasn't making that clear. In this query jam, we dug into how to anchor the hero section so buyers know exactly what he sells, why big logos can actually turn his best customers away, and how to turn a FAQ into your secret conversion weapon. Let's get into it.
I'm Dean Cumberland. I am an AI consultant. I help founder-led brands scale authentically with AI without losing their soul. My work is all about how to use AI in a human-centered way to allow you to do more of the work that only you can do, whether it's you personally, your team, utilizing this tool as a way to move closer to the fire, where real meaning and authenticity and purpose is found in the work that we do. That's what I'm all about.
How did you get into this line of work?
Yeah, I rewind 5 years ago. I was running a venture studio building software, marketing technology and MarTech adjacent software. And we were at that time using some AI tools. They were early in the AI world. They're not what we typically think of when we think of AI now, which are these chat interfaces. But we were using some light AI. And so I was already aware of these tools. I wrapped up that in partnership around 2022 and started consulting in marketing. I was a fractional CMO right around the time that OpenAI released its first consumer-facing model. And I had been running a team of 12 plus in the venture studio and was pretty burnt out and exhausted from holding all these people together, keeping everybody rowing in the same direction. And so wanted to see if with this new team and the new direction I was building, how far I could get with a more agile organization. So leaned heavily into to AI. And so I think a combination of both my technical background, maybe also my expertise in the humanities prior to being in tech. I started my career in the nonprofit world, have a master's degree in psychology and theology. I think all those things combined to really allow me to get a lot out of AI very early on, lean heavily into it. It was a fractional CMO for a couple of software companies ranging from $5 million a year to $20 million a year as far as the size of these teams. And it was, or these companies, it was mostly me and AI doing majority of the work. I had a few contractors I would bring in here and there. But as I continued doing that, started getting a lot of questions from friends and people that that in my network about what I was doing, started helping people here and there with their AI workflows, and came to see that I was doing things very differently than a lot of other people. So started working as doing some consulting engagements here and there around AI, and really saw the potential to build something new. I had been with the venture studio. The goal there was to build something bigger than just me, and I felt really limited as a fractional CMO that it's really hard to grow the organization. And as I leaned into AI, I saw this is something that could become something bigger, so that I could help more people have a bigger impact than what I was doing in the marketing realm. And so decided to go all in on AI, and really with this perspective of what I call technical empathy. How do we bridge the gap between this technical tool that can feel so human but isn't, and what it means to be human on the other side? And really, that gap is that people make meaning, machines don't. But how can we use these tools to help us make meaning in what we do?
Well said. You said something really interesting there, which is that you figured out that you were using AI very differently than other fractionals and even maybe other founders and people all across the world. Do you have some examples on how you think about and how you use AI so differently than everyone else?
This is becoming more commonplace now, but rewind a year or so ago, it all starts with context. And I think context is the missing piece that a lot of tools are still trying to figure out. How do we help AI understand everything that it needs to know in order to get the job done that we're trying to get it to do? And that's something that I figured out very early on. I like to think of AI, we want it to be like a toaster. We push the button and then the toast comes out. But it's much more of a sous chef, where we need to prep all the ingredients and provide it with a map and a good recipe card, if you will, and clear instructions. And so to really think about what that looks like and how to go about doing that in order to create custom trained AI that knows who your ICP is, that knows what your offer stack is, that understands who you are, where you want to go, and then can produce content that's related to all of those things, whether that be from a strategy standpoint of helping you make decisions the right decision, the right next decision, or whether it's creating marketing content, drafting proposals, et cetera, et cetera. So to rewind to what I was doing as a CMO, is working across multiple companies with multiple audiences. Most of my clients had multiple defined audiences with multiple products for each of those audiences. So how do you create bespoke marketing material for all of those different audiences, for all of those different products? And it all comes down to one, prompting, two, context, and then three, workflows to make it so that you don't have to be constantly managing all the files, all the context. And then from there, you can move into automation, light automation, where the AI is doing heavy lifting for you. And instead of moving files, clicking buttons, you're just approving and posting and those kinds of activities.
Yeah. What are the tools that you kind of have found that you're using all the time to be able to make it so you're giving it the context, but then letting kind of automations do the rest?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a handful. So I'm very LLM agnostic, meaning that I'm not married to any one system, whether it be ChatGPT, Claude, or Google. Those are the three big players in my opinion. I use all of those tools, but I'm often accessing them through different interfaces. Typing Mind is one of my favorites, which is a user interface that you can connect to many models, those plus many others, and then work across those models, and also has some light features for managing context. When it comes to automations, there's a handful of platforms that I use for different reasons. Tools like Make.com, Zapier, Relevance, N8N, and the list goes on. In my opinion, they all can do very similar things. It's just a matter of which ones are you already comfortable. Do you know how to use best and you're comfortable with? And there are some pros and cons to one versus the other. But from a platform and tooling standpoint, that's a lot of the tools.
So I know you're in the process of doing a big kind of rebrand, or maybe it's like a full-on kind of thing when it comes to your new site with this
Yeah.
new AI focus.
This is the new site. It has some small tweaks that still need to be done from a design standpoint. Probably a little bit of the copy might change here and there, but this is, I'd say 90% of the way done.
I love it. First of all, you've clearly done a lot when it comes to already doing the hard part of thinking and figuring out exactly what you sell and who it's for. And the design looks amazing. Like, kudos there.
I appreciate that. Love it.
My question to you from right off the bat, which is give AI the work, you drive the growth. Is this a service business? Is this selling courses? Is this selling books? Because that H1 could be literally a B2B SaaS that does this AI power, which is the world's most useless phrase ever. Or it could be a service consultant. It could be you're writing books, you're selling it, you have a community. Which is it for you?
It is a blend. It's primarily services, either done for you or done with you services. There probably could make some tweaks there. I'd welcome your thoughts about how to clarify that in that H1. I do think that the book a call maybe points in that direction a little bit, but I think that's a great point.
Yeah. First and foremost, kudos. You've done something that 90% of brands still don't do, which is your book a call is the same in your navigation menu as it is on your actual H1 within your hero section. Thank you for doing that.
The actual text.
Always forget that as someone who writes landing pages for a living and does positioning work.
Interesting.
The amount of times I have to tell people, I'm like, you're creating so much a little bit more friction when you have different wording for the exact same thing. So kudos there. Book a call definitely hints at services, but I do wonder if I give AI the work, you drive the growth, but I wonder if either you can change that a little or you change the sub description behind it to emphasize on for hire and not just you're going to get a playbook or whatever. So right now, I don't know if it's not doing that for you. So the next thing you have is learn with AI, automate with AI, lead with AI. That makes sense. I like it. It's punchy. You've automatically said one thing I will kind of echo you on is you have the big logos, which is amazing. But if your audience is more of these mid-sized brands, what I've seen oftentimes, and I tell people this all the time, is big logos, and I work in a similar vein. So big logos are great if you're working with big companies. If you're working with
Mm-hmm.
small to mid-sized companies, they often
Yeah.
will just see big logos and automatically think, oh, Dan's too premium for me, I'm not going to reach out.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
can you
Great
either
thoughts.
really specify that in
Mm-hmm.
your hero section that you work with who you work with? Or do
Mm-hmm.
you have logos you can use or testimonies you can use of other companies who are just like the ones that you do the work with so they can see themselves
Yeah,
in?
that's great. I could totally imagine that because these are a lot of big and there's a part of me that's like, I hate to let the big things go because these are the household brands and a lot of the other brands are not brands that people know. We'll see some of them represented later on the page, but I think it's a really interesting and helpful insight.
Yeah, you said you have other brands that are on this page later. Can you scroll down?
Yeah, so I have a bunch of testimonials
Oh,
here, and so
perfect.
these are not logos, but testimonials of folks that I have done work with who are um, Amanda Northcutt from Level Up Creators. So she's runs
Mhm.
a business consulting team. Mel is a podcaster and teaches and course creator. Julie is a leadership coach. Natalie is an executive advisor.
And these are the types of companies that you work with?
Hmm. Yes, these are
Okay,
all
in
people I've
that
done
case,
with.
why is it buried so far down the page? The types of people that you work with, and you already have the testimonials there.
Yeah,
Why don't you, and you might need to redesign it a little bit, but why don't you make that be right up below, right, or at least have one of them right
yeah,
below
further
your
up,
hero
right,
section?
closer to the
Yes.
fold. Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
you have
Yeah,
one right there. So then you can still have all of the big name logos. Although I would
yeah.
caution you to say that everyone thinks logos matter. They don't. Literally,
Hmm.
I've run the test over and over and over again. The big name
Interesting.
logos have almost no conversion lift unless you are working with enterprise teams. So maybe I
Yeah,
would tell you, instead of having those logos there, put your best testimonial
yeah,
right there.
right
And
there.
then you have
That's
your
a
other
great idea.
three where they are right now. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fascinating idea. I love it.
Yeah. And then you have why you're stuck. So are
Hmm.
these kind of, this is what I would consider to be, when I think of landing pages, I think of the messaging wedge right at top, which I don't necessarily know if you kind of do already have that, which is let AI do the work, you drive the growth and use up the
Yep,
context. That is your
yep,
wedge. You want to agitate it with your problem. So why you're stuck.
yes.
Are these the core problems where people have content overwhelm, time poverty, tech confusion, and lost authenticity? Are those kind of the core problems that are coming up in discovery calls, coming up within the conversations you have?
Yes, I've done a lot of voice of customer interviews. That's kind of where these have emerged.
Yeah. In that case, no notes. It's you're doing exactly what you should be doing, solving the
Yeah.
problem, and advocating it. Scroll down. Now you're going into, okay, I've helped over 120 leaders. I would maybe caution you and basically I like this, put this in your hero section. So it gives you
Mm,
automatically, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to signal that you're for hire as a service business. And two, it gives you that credibility. So even just that
yeah.
line right there, it says I've helped 100+ leaders reclaim 10 hours every week. That could literally be your H1.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If that's your H1, and then suddenly your messaging wedge, which is what I always tell everyone, which is what is that final thing that somebody does before they go to hire? So is
Yes.
it literally because you help them drive growth and outsource a lot of the work for AI and automation into you into AI and automation? If that's the
Yeah.
wedge, then that should be in there. And then you're leading with that automatic proof, which is, hey, I've worked with 100+ leaders. I've helped
Love
them to
that.
average of 10 hours a week. And suddenly now you have that wedge front and center.
I love that. That's great. That's really fascinating. Great feedback.
Awesome. And then, so, okay, stop working harder, let AI amplify your best self. I like it. Makes sense. Just additional social proof, no notes there. Design's working for you. It's clear. Cool. So now we're going into, I'm guessing, the solution, which is these 4 offerings. My
That's right.
immediate thought on this is I love the offerings. You have 4 of them. Maybe I would tell you to do 3, to do a rule of 3. But
Hmm.
again, that is so nuanced. Thing I will tell you is I wasn't immediately clear in this design that these were 4 different offerings. It almost feels like 4 phases of one. So
Oh,
I
I
don't know if
see.
it's literally
Hmm.
just get rid of 1, 2, 3, and 4 and just make it really clear. Those are 4 different
Yeah.
offers you can have
Yep.
because no notes in the packages, they all make sense.
Yep.
I would maybe tell you to be a little bit more specific on a couple of these, but the
Hmm.
immediate thing that stands out to me is this 4 different packages or is this just one thing that they have 4 different things?
Yeah, I could totally see that the numbering in particular could make you feel like it's a progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, so that's probably the easiest fix in the world. I just get rid of the numbers.
Yeah.
Second is, okay, so you have 4 different offerings. You have founder voice, you have implementation as group coaching with your community. I maybe tell you to kind of lean a little bit more into how many people are in the community and just kind of
Hmm.
reinforce, hey, this is like, either super exclusive or kind of a value-based play. You
Yeah.
have workshops and then you have AI solutions. Can you brand
Yeah.
them a little bit more so that it
Mm.
feels like it's Dan's thing and not just any other AI consultant can say the exact same thing.
I love that. Yeah. So really focus on the naming specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
my question to you is, do you already have kind of names in mind, or why are you kind of defaulting to the general ones where it could be
Yeah.
any AI consultant can say they have a
Totally.
workshop or
Yeah, that's the
company.
last thing I want to do is be just another AI consultant. So
Yeah.
I think your feedback here is very, very on point. And I honestly just haven't, it's not that I haven't thought about these names, but I haven't thought about it from that vantage point of like how could I identify these names more? How could I bring more of my brand into the names? I think that's interesting.
Put your name and then also put that real wedge. So I always tell everyone, you want to have that wedge to wow moment. That's what I've pretty much done across every single one of these query jams I've done, and also with any client work that I do when it comes to landing pages. It's like find your wedge, really, really hammer that home, and then figure out ways to kind of wow them.
Great. I love it. Yeah,
awesome.
I think that's a great piece for me to do some work on, because I'm not married to these names. They're just like, yeah, we need a name for this thing. Here's a name.
Yeah. You have the design, you have the packages, so you've already done 90% of the work. Do that last 10% to make it branded like you, and also branded to what your customers are already saying. And then you've already done 90% of the work. Scroll down. So you have the solutions. Okay, now you have more social proof. You already know what I'm gonna say here. Take one of those 3, take one of those 4, and put it up. The other 3, no notes. You're doing all of the right things there. Great. You have photos, you have quotes. Okay, you have more about yourself, why people trust you. Makes sense. You might want to think about having some of the trust. It's fine where it is now. Maybe think about moving up a little bit higher towards where you have all of your solutions. But again, where it is now, it totally works as well.
Great.
And you're just kind of giving more people reasons to hire you. Scroll down. Yeah. So how it works. Could you have the how it works section be blended into the 4 solutions?
Yeah, probably quite easily. I mean, even just to move that bar just right here, even like how it works, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe package, explore options or explore packages or, something like that. Above that, I think it would be a very easy change.
Yeah, that would automatically do a lot for you. And it also just further signals those 4 different ideas. Next thing I have for you is you don't have anything about pricing now. Is that by design? Or do you have customizing, or do you actually have somewhat standard?
It's both. It depends on the package. Other than the solutions catalog, the workshops is arranged based on the workshop itself. The coaching cohort is a set price, and the founder's voice package is a set price. Those could be there, and then this could say starting at prices. I wasn't sure about putting all of these will link to the page, the sales page for each of the product page for each of these, where pricing will be, disclosed. I just didn't feel great about putting the pricing on the front page, but I'm curious what your expert thoughts.
I would say in general, okay, since you have different pricing, you don't need a full-on pricing table. That would probably devalue you and make you seem less premium as you are. 2 things that are coming to mind. If you have things like the group coaching that have a standard price every time, lead with that. Put that in that section right here. So that people know what to expect. Another thing that's super simple, learn more is like the laziest CTA on the planet. Instead of saying learn more, have it be, if it is get group coaching, schedule a call for the solutions catalog 1. Whatever that CTA is, say that and be clear and be specific instead of defaulting to learn more, which learn more about what.
Yes, I think that's great. Guilty as charged there. That is a pretty lazy, learn more. Let's just learn more.
Yeah, it's so easy to do that, but when you say learn more, no one's going to do anything. And then, for the ones that are standardized, put your pricing in there. It just makes it that much more likely for them to convert. For the ones where it's more custom, have the CTA be book a call or something like that. And then scroll back down to where you have FAQs. So the one thing I've been telling, and this is, I'm going to sound like a broken record now across more than 20 of these so far, as it's the same exact feedback for everyone on FAQs. FAQ should not just be what's your pricing or how much content do we need. Your FAQ should actually be your objection handling full stop. What are the reasons people do not hire Dan or do not do your group coaching, do not hire any of your programs? What are those reasons? Those reasons should be spelled out in your FAQ. And and I'm assuming they're not there right now.
No, I mean, not objections. No, I think these are questions I get, but I wouldn't call these objections.
Bingo. So I'm assuming the only one that might actually be an objection is how are you different from just using ChatGPT or Claude? Is that an actual objection?
Yeah, it is, because I think that a lot of people are like, well, I've got a custom GPT, so I don't need, so I don't need you. So it's pretty close.
Got it. So that is one objection. No notes there. Make sure that you already have it. What are the other objections that you hear, or the other reasons that somebody doesn't hire you?
One I hear a lot is like, I'm not ready yet, or like, just this isn't a priority right now. And, the way that I typically handle that is by talking about like really kind of pushing into the pain point of waiting and, how much opportunity and value that could be created in the meantime, which usually more than pays for the engagement. So like to have something in here about that would be really meaningful. I mean, honestly, far and above, it's either that or it's either that or money, like we don't have the budget. Those are the two.
Got it. So in that case, I would definitely lean into I'm not ready yet, making sure that it's spelled out clearly in your FAQs, spelled out why
Yeah.
it's different than just a general custom BPD they might already have. The budget one gets a little bit trickier. From my own experience, I encounter this in my own client work, and I also encounter this with all of my clients when I'm building out things for them, and they say the exact same thing. Budget work is usually a cop out. There's usually something underneath it, whether it is I'm not ready, there's imposter syndrome, there might be, oh, I already have a custom GPT, I'm already, paying X, Y, and Z person. Figure out what
Yes,
those
yes.
really roots are, get into that, and then utilize that in your
Yeah.
FAQs and also throughout all of your copy. That's how you really make a page punch way above the weight and start to see conversion rates that are 25%, even 50% for a service business.
Cool. That's great. That's great feedback. I love that.
Yeah, and then scroll down.
Hmm.
Start now, free AI training guide. I like this. I'm assuming this is your secondary sub CPA, where if people aren't ready to book a call, this is your lead
Yep.
magnet. This is your way to kind of nurture them. No notes
Exactly right.
there. Only
Yep.
thing I can think of is maybe don't use a stock photo. That just is going to
Hmm.
cheapen your brand. I tell that to people all the time. And then the other thing is the wall of text. So
Yeah, there's
maybe
a lot of words right there.
you consolidate this down a little bit? I like download guide as your sub CTA. It's in the right placement on the page. Can you have another photo of yourself? Can you use something that is not stock adjacent?
Yep. Great feedback.
Awesome. Anything else before we wrap?
No, I think this is all really good. It gives me lots of good stuff to chew on. And I mean, it feels like there's a lot of low hanging fruit of like just small tweaks. It's good to get your expert opinion that I'm mostly on the right track, which feels good since I've been working hard on this. Thank
The
you.
design looks amazing. And those like little things where you're just really deepening down into your messaging wedge and really diving into those kind of core objections and making sure they're addressed is you're going to take something that's already 90% of the way there and have it be 100% like your top selling way to kind of get more clients.
Thanks so much. This is
Awesome.
great.
Thank you.